The sound of dishes crashing to the floor was my first memory of La Maison. I was 5 years old, watching in horror as my father's career as a restaurateur came crashing down, literally and figuratively. That night, as he swept up broken plates and dreams, he told me something I'd never forget. Sophia, in this business, you either own the restaurant or the restaurant owns you. 25 years later, those words still echo in my mind as I stand in the kitchen of Taste, watching my staff prepare for another busy night. They don't know I own this place. None of them do, except for my lawyer and accountant. To everyone else, I'm just Sophia Martinez, the quiet consultant who occasionally drops by to observe operations. My family? They think I'm a failed chef who couldn't hack it in culinary school. They're not entirely wrong about the culinary school part. I dropped out after 2 semesters. What they don't know is that I left because I was too busy buying my first failing restaurant and turning it around for a profit. You're throwing your life away, Mom had said when I quit school. Look at your sister Olivia, graduating medical school with honors, making something of herself. Ah, Olivia, the golden child, the successful surgeon who could do no wrong. Every family dinner became a celebration of her latest achievement, while my presence was tolerated with thinly veiled disappointment. But I had a plan. While they thought I was floundering, I was building an empire. One restaurant at a time, I acquired failing establishments, revitalized them, and either sold them for profit or kept them in my growing portfolio. I operated through a maze of holding companies and LLCs, keeping my name off any public documents. In the restaurant industry, anonymity was power. Taste was my crown jewel. When it came on the market 3 years ago, my family was devastated. It had been their favorite restaurant for special occasions, birthdays, anniversaries, celebrations of Olivia's endless achievements. The previous owner, an old-school French chef, had run it into the ground with mismanagement and an outdated menu. I bought it through one of my companies, poured millions into renovations, and transformed it into the hottest reservation in the city. The irony of my family still dining here, never knowing it was mine, gave me a quiet satisfaction. Ms. Martinez. Miguel, my general manager, approached with a tablet in hand. The private party for tonight. The Martinez group? They've requested some special arrangements. My stomach tightened. Tonight was Mom's 60th birthday celebration, organized by Olivia, of course. I'd received the invitation 2 weeks ago, a reluctant inclusion that made it clear my presence was more obligation than desire. What kind of arrangements? I asked, though I already had a feeling I knew. They've requested 20 seats at the main table, but Miguel looked uncomfortable. They've asked for an additional small table near the kitchen for 1 guest. They said it's for family who's, more comfortable with the staff. The knife twisted deeper. Same old Olivia, finding ways to put me in my place. She probably told the restaurant it was for a socially awkward cousin or something equally dismissive. I see. I kept my voice neutral. And the main table arrangements? Miguel scrolled through his tablet. Dr. Olivia Martinez specified the seating. She's placed herself next to her husband Daniel at the head of the table, with their parents next to them. Then various aunts, uncles, cousins. He paused. She was very particular about the champagne service, only for the main table. Of course she was. Heaven forbid the family disappointment get a glass of champagne. I spent the rest of the afternoon in my hidden office above the kitchen, watching the security feeds as my family arrived. Mom and Dad first, Mom resplendent in a new designer dress. Then Olivia and Daniel, her surgeon husband, looking like they'd stepped out of a magazine. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all dressed to impress. I arrived last, wearing a simple black dress that probably cost less than Olivia's shoes. The hostess, following instructions she didn't know came from my sister, led me to the small table near the kitchen doors. "You can sit here," Olivia said loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. "Where you belong." She smirked, adjusting her diamond necklace. "After all, you always said you wanted to work in restaurants." The rest of the family tittered politely at her joke. Mom looked embarrassed, but said nothing. Dad suddenly became very interested in his menu. I sat down at my lonely table, watching the champagne being poured at the main table, listening to the toasts and laughter. Each time the kitchen door swung open, I caught glimpses of my staff, working with the precision and excellence I demanded when I rebuilt this place. Miguel approached my table, looking nervous. He knew me as the consultant who signed his paychecks, but he'd been instructed by Olivia to treat me like an unwanted guest. "Can I get you some water?" he asked quietly. I looked up at him, then at my family celebrating without me, then back at the manager who had no idea he was speaking to the owner of not just this restaurant, but 5 others across the city. "Actually," I said, reaching for my phone, "I think it's time for some changes to tonight's service." The next few hours would teach my family a lesson about judging books by their covers. And maybe, just maybe, they'd finally understand that success doesn't always wear a designer label or come with a medical degree. Little did they know, they were celebrating in my house. And in my house, everyone eventually learns their place at the table. I've learned something important in my years of running restaurants. Timing is everything. Whether you're plating a perfect souffle or destroying someone's illusions of superiority, it all comes down to the exact right moment. Sitting at my isolated table, I watched my family through new eyes. The way Olivia held court at the head of the table, regaling everyone with stories of her latest surgical triumph. How Mom beamed with pride while Dad nodded along, occasionally glancing at his phone to check stock prices. The cousins, aunts, and uncles all orbiting around them like satellites around a sun. 20 years of dismissal and condescension had led to this moment. But before I could make my move, Olivia decided to twist the knife one more time. "Oh, Miguel," she called out to my manager, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Could you please make sure my sister gets the special menu?" She threw me a smirk. "The one with prices removed. We wouldn't want her to worry about the cost." Miguel looked uncomfortable, knowing full well I signed his paychecks as the consultant. But he had his instructions from the party organizer. He brought me a menu, apologetic eyes meeting mine. "The special menu, as requested," he murmured. I opened it, noticing how Olivia watched expectantly, waiting for my humiliation. Instead, I smiled. "Miguel," I said clearly, loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "please bring me your wine list, the complete one, including the reserve cellar." Olivia's eyebrows shot up. The reserve cellar at Taste was legendary. Bottles ranging from $500 to $50,000, carefully curated over years. Access was by invitation only, something she tried and failed to obtain despite her status as a regular customer. "Safia," Mom called from the main table, her voice tight with embarrassment. "Don't be difficult. You know you can't afford." "Actually," I cut in, "I think I'll have the 1982 Chateau Lafite Rothschild." I turned to Miguel. "From the private collection in Cellar 3. The room went quiet. Even the regular diners knew about that bottle. $15,000 of liquid history, part of a collection that the mysterious owner of Taste had reportedly acquired at auction. Miguel's eyes widened slightly. He knew that only one person could authorize that bottle. "Right away, Ms. Martinez," he said, a new note of respect in his voice. "Sofia, stop this immediately," Dad snapped, his face reddening. "You can't just order." "I can," I said calmly, "and I will." In fact, I stood up, straightening my simple black dress. "Miguel, please open the reserve cellar. I think it's time we shared some of our best bottles with the entire party." Olivia shot up from her seat. "You can't do that. Do you have any idea how much those bottles cost? They'll add it to Mom's bill. And—" "No," I said softly. "They won't." I walked to the center of the room, where all eyes were now on me. 20 years of being the family disappointment, the failed chef, the cautionary tale. It all ended tonight. "You see, Olivia, there won't be any bill tonight. Not for the wine, not for the food, not for anything." I paused, letting the tension build. "Because you can't charge the owner for dining in their own restaurant." The silence that followed was deafening. I could see the wheels turning in Olivia's head, trying to process what I'd just said. Mom's hand flew to her throat, clutching her pearls. Dad's phone slipped from his fingers, clattering onto his plate. "What? What are you talking about?" Olivia managed finally. I smiled, the same smile I'd practiced in boardrooms and business negotiations. "Let me make this very clear. I own Taste. Not just Taste, actually. I own Le Petit Jardin downtown, Marina Bay on the waterfront, Rustico in the financial district, Cloud 9 at the top of the Anderson building, and Bistro 55 in the theater district." Each name landed like a blow. They knew these restaurants, the most exclusive, most successful establishments in the city. Places where they'd celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, Olivia's promotions. Places they'd bragged about getting reservations to, never knowing their failed chef of a relative signed the checks. That's impossible," Mom whispered. "Those restaurants are owned by the Martinez Restaurant Group." "Yes," I agreed. "They are. Martinez Restaurant Group, founded by Sofia Martinez, incorporated 7 years ago." I turned to Miguel. "Could you please bring my laptop from my office? The one above the kitchen." As Miguel hurried off, I could see the reality starting to sink in for my family. Every dismissive comment, every condescending remark, every time they'd look down on my failure, it was all coming back to haunt them. But you dropped out of culinary school," Olivia sputtered. "You couldn't even finish your training." "I dropped out because I was too busy buying my first restaurant," I corrected her. "A failing Italian place in the business district. Bought it for pennies on the dollar, turned it around in 6 months, sold it for triple the investment. Used that money to buy 2 more failing restaurants. Rinse and repeat." Miguel returned with my laptop. I opened it, logging into the restaurant's systems. With a few keystrokes, every screen in the restaurant, the ones usually showing wine selections and daily specials, switched to display the Martinez Restaurant Group's holdings and financial statements. Current annual revenue across all properties, $35 million, I announced. Net profit last year, $12 million. Market value of the restaurant group, approximately $150 million. The numbers hit them like physical blows. I could see Dad, the former accountant, mouthing the figures in shock. Olivia had gone pale, her perfectly manicured hands gripping the edge of the table. "All those times you seated me by the kitchen," I continued, my voice carrying in the hushed room, All those times you made jokes about my restaurant career. I was signing your checks. Every bottle of wine you ordered to impress your friends. Every special table you requested. Every time you dropped my name to get a reservation. You were trading on my reputation without even knowing it. The look on their faces was almost worth 20 years of condescension. Almost. But I wasn't done yet. Because timing, as I said, is everything. And I had saved my best course for last. The thing about revenge, like fine wine, is that it's best served at precisely the right temperature. Too cold, and you lose the subtle notes. Too warm, and it overwhelms the palate. As I stood in my restaurant, watching my family process the revelation of my success, I felt a strange sense of calm. The expensive bottle of wine arrived, and I gestured for Miguel to pour glasses for everyone, even at my former lonely table by the kitchen. A toast, I said, lifting my glass, to assumptions and to their consequences. Olivia remained frozen. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide the shock on her face. Mom kept opening and closing her mouth, like a fish out of water. Dad, ever the accountant, had pulled out his phone and was frantically Googling the Martinez restaurant group. But why? Mom finally managed. Why didn't you tell us? Tell you? I laughed softly. When would that have been appropriate? During the family dinners where you only talked about Olivia's accomplishments. Or maybe during those lovely holiday gatherings where you introduced me as your daughter who works in restaurants, like it was some kind of terminal illness. We were worried about you, Dad protested weakly, still staring at his phone. We thought you were struggling. No, I corrected him. You wanted me to struggle. You needed me to struggle, because my failure made Olivia's success shine brighter. Olivia finally found her voice. That's not fair. Not fair? I cut her off. Let's talk about fair, dear sister. I pulled out my tablet and pulled up some records. Let's discuss the 12 times you called my office, not knowing it was mine, demanding special treatment at my restaurants, or the time you tried to get my manager fired at Le Petit Jardin because he wouldn't give you a table without a reservation. The color drained from her face. That was, I didn't. Or perhaps, I continued, my voice steel wrapped in silk. We should discuss the review you posted online about Marina Bay last month. The one where you claimed to know the owner personally and threatened to have the chef fired. A gasp went around the table. Olivia had bragged about that review, about how she'd shown that uppity restaurant its place. I didn't know it was yours, she whispered. That's exactly the point. You didn't know, but you acted that way anyway. All of you did. I looked around the table at my assembled family. You treated service workers, restaurant staff, and anyone you thought was beneath you with contempt. And all the while, you were dining in my establishments, enjoying my success, and benefiting from my hard work. I nodded to Miguel, who disappeared into the kitchen. A moment later, he returned with a team of servers, each carrying folders. Inside these folders, I announced, you'll find some interesting documents. Financial records of every meal you've enjoyed in my restaurants, every special favor you've requested, every time you've dropped my name or claimed connections to get what you wanted. The servers distributed the folders. Hands shaking, my relatives opened them. You'll also find, I continued, receipts for every Christmas bonus I've anonymously given to the staff you've berated. Every tip I've added to make up for the ones you've skipped. Every repair bill for the things you've broken during your entitled tantrums. Mom was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. Dad looked like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. But I wasn't finished. And finally, I said, my voice carrying in the silent restaurant. You'll find lifetime bans from all Martinez Restaurant Group properties. Effective immediately. The explosion was immediate. You can't do this, Olivia shrieked, standing up so fast her chair toppled backward. We're family. Family? I raised an eyebrow. Was it family when you seated me by the kitchen tonight? Was it family when you mocked my career choice for 20 years? Was it family when you treated my staff, people who depend on me for their livelihoods, like they were beneath you? Safia, please. Mom pleaded. We can fix this. We didn't know. That's right, Mom. You didn't know. You never bothered to find out. You were too busy planning parties to celebrate Olivia's every minor achievement to notice that your other daughter was building an empire. I turned to Miguel. Please escort them out, all of them, and make sure their bans are implemented across all properties immediately. As security began to move forward, Dad stood up. Wait, the bill? For tonight. Consider it my last gift, I said coldly. A final meal in one of my restaurants. Though I doubt you'll enjoy the taste of humble pie. I watched as they were escorted out, my proud family reduced to shocked whispers and backward glances. Olivia tried to protest one last time at the door, but the sight of additional security guards convinced her to leave quietly. Once they were gone, I addressed the other diners, who had watched the scene unfold with rapt attention. I apologize for the disruption, I said. Your meals tonight are on the house. Please, enjoy the rest of your evening. The applause that followed was unexpected but warming. I nodded to Miguel to bring me the expensive bottle of wine at my small table by the kitchen. My favorite spot, as it turned out. The place where I could hear the rhythm of my restaurant, feel its heartbeat. Over the next few weeks, the calls and messages poured in. Apologies, explanations, justifications. Mom left tearful voicemails about how proud she was, how she'd always believed in me. She hadn't. Olivia's messages swung between anger and attempted reconciliation. Dad sent lengthy emails analyzing my business success, offering unsolicited advice about tax strategies. I ignored them all. 6 months later, I opened my newest restaurant, a small, intimate place called Second Chances. The concept was simple. We hired people who needed a fresh start, trained them in the culinary arts, and gave them the opportunity I'd made for myself. On opening night, as I stood in the kitchen watching my new staff prepare for service, Miguel appeared at my side. Your family is outside, he said quietly. Your sister made a reservation under a different name. They're asking to speak with you. I thought about it for a moment, remembered the lonely girl at the table by the kitchen, remembered the years of dismissal and doubt. Then I thought about the empire I'd built, the success I'd achieved, the lives I was changing. Tell them, I said, tying on my apron and picking up a knife, that the owner is busy cooking, and remind them about their lifetime ban. Miguel smiled and headed out. I turned to my new staff, former addicts, ex-cons, abuse survivors, all getting their second chance. All right, everyone, I called out. Time to show the world what you can do. Remember what I always say. They joined in, voices strong and proud. In this business, you either own the restaurant or the restaurant owns you. I smiled, feeling the familiar heat of the kitchen, the energy of circus about to begin. This was my empire, built on hard work, skill, and the determination to prove everyone wrong. And the best revenge wasn't serving it cold. It was serving it perfectly prepared, beautifully plated, and completely out of reach. The kitchen doors swung open and another night of service began. In my restaurants, everyone eventually learns their place. Some just learn it the hard way. As for my family, they still try to get reservations at my restaurant sometimes, using different names or having friends make bookings for them. Each time, they're politely turned away. Each time, they learn again that success, like the best meals, is sweetest when earned. They say you can't choose your family, but you can choose how you deal with them. I chose to build an empire they couldn't enter, create success they couldn't claim, and find happiness they couldn't diminish. And every night, I still sit at that table by the kitchen, drinking expensive wine and listening to the symphony of a well-run restaurant. It turns out the best seat in the house was the one they thought was a punishment. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be cold. Sometimes it just needs to be served with perfect timing, impeccable presentation, and a side of lifetime ban.
Hi, I'm Ava. I want to tell you about my tricky relationship with my mother-in-law, Sophia. She always seemed to make things hard for me. Sophia had old-fashioned ideas and never really liked me. For a while, my husband, William, and I lived far from them, so Sophia couldn't bother us much. But when William got a job close to them, we had to deal with her more. I could handle Sophia's behavior because I grew up dealing with difficult people, like my own parents. Luckily, William's dad, Benjamin, was always nice to me. But the tough part was that Sophia spent time with my daughter, Luna, who was 9 at the time. Luna loved her grandparents, and they were the only ones she knew well. Since I didn't have contact with my own parents, even though Sophia and I had our issues, I put them aside for Luna's sake. I wanted Luna to have a good relationship with her grandparents. William also cared about family a lot, so I couldn't just cut Sophia out of our lives. Luna enjoyed spending time with her grandparents, but Sophia still caused problems sometimes. Sophia kept criticizing Luna's diet, saying I wasn't feeding her right. She thought Luna needed more nuts for protein, but Luna was allergic to nuts and even their smell made her sick. I told Sophia this many times, but she wouldn't listen. She said Luna needed to eat nuts to get over her allergy and called me a bad mom. I knew you'd say this, Sophia. We talked to the doctor, and Luna's meals are balanced. Skipping nuts won't hurt anyone, but it could make Luna really sick, I told her. Even after explaining and listening to the doctor, Sophia didn't change her mind. She thought exposing Luna to nuts would help her allergies. I was tired of arguing with her and tired of being called a bad mom. Sophia even tried to get Luna to eat nuts, but Luna knew better and always said no. Feeling more and more worried about what Sophia might do, I decided to talk to William about it. I'm really concerned about leaving Luna alone with Sophia. I'm afraid she might give Luna foods she's allergic to, thinking it will help her allergies, I told him. Don't worry so much, Ava. My mom might have old-fashioned ideas, but she knows her boundaries. And Dad is always there to step in if things get out of hand. Luna loves being with her grandparents, and we can't just stop her from seeing them, William said, trying to reassure me. But Sophia keeps ignoring Luna's allergies. I'm genuinely scared for Luna's safety whenever she's with them without me. We need to talk about this. I can't keep worrying like this, I insisted. Relax, Ava. There's no need to stop Luna from seeing my parents just because of this small issue. Luna loves being with them, you know? And if you're worried about Mom, I'll talk to her. She'll listen to me, William assured me. His words made sense. Luna really enjoyed being with her grandparents, so I couldn't bring myself to stop her. If Luna had ever said she didn't want to see them, I would have respected her decision. But I didn't realize that even William couldn't change Sophia's behavior. Things came to a head at Luna's 11th birthday party. Benjamin and Sophia were invited, and they said they'd come. Sophia seemed really excited, which made me uneasy, though I didn't know why. When they arrived early, it surprised me because Sophia usually avoided being around me. She gave Luna a big present wrapped in birthday paper and said, "Happy birthday, Luna. Here's your gift. Grandma got you something really special." Luna thanked Sophia, and then Sophia said, "Wow, that's a big gift. What's inside, Grandpa?" "I have no idea, Luna. Grandma chose it, and she won't even tell me what's in there. We'll both find out when you open it," Benjamin said. "Come on, open Grandma's gift and see what she got you." I bet you'll love it, sweetie. I'll be your favorite grandma ever, Sophia said excitedly. I can't wait to see what you got me, Grandma. I'm so excited. We'll open all the gifts after we cut the cake, Luna. Let your friends arrive, and once we finish the cake, you can start opening the presents, I suggested. No, Luna needs to open my gift before cutting the cake. That's why I came early, to give her my special present, Sophia insisted. Despite feeling suspicious about Sophia's behavior, Luna seemed genuinely happy to get such a nice gift from her grandma. The big, heavy package made Luna even more excited, and she couldn't wait to see what was inside. She wanted to start opening her presents once all her friends were there. I agreed to let Luna open Sophia's gift before the cake, as Sophie said it had to be done that way. I didn't want to upset Luna on her birthday, so we went along with it. But little did I know what a disaster it would turn into. Luna and her parents were let down by the one person they trusted. Sophia not only ruined Luna's birthday, but also turned everyone against her. When Luna opened the gift, she found a big cake with her name on it. She was happy for a moment, but then she passed out. William and I rushed to her, scared and confused when we saw her throat swelling up. In shock, I watched as William hurried to get an epinephrine shot while someone else called the police. Knowing exactly who was behind this, I confronted Sophia, demanding answers. What on earth did you put in Luna's cake? What's in it? I asked, my voice shaking with anger and fear. Sophia pretended she didn't know anything, saying, I didn't do anything, Ava. It's just a regular cake. I don't understand what's happening. Maybe something you did caused Luna to faint. You've been neglecting her nutrition despite my warnings, and now she's paying the price. Don't try to blame me. Luna was fine just a moment ago, and now she's having an allergic reaction. Tell me what you did to her, Sophia. I hope you didn't mess with the cake. You need to own up to your actions and take responsibility. Look at Luna, she's turning blue. I snapped back, ignoring Sophia's excuses. Focusing solely on Luna, I hurried over with the epinephrine I always kept on hand for emergencies. Although Luna's swelling went down a bit, she remained unconscious. It was clear that she needed to go to the hospital to fully recover. The room was filled with worry for Luna. Tears welled up in my eyes, and even William looked close to crying. Sophia, who was already in tears, seemed scared. In that moment, I decided to cut open the cake to see what was inside. What I found shocked me to the core. I demanded answers from Sophia, questioning her sanity for putting nuts in the cake. Sophia, what were you thinking? You ignored my warnings and put nuts in the cake, putting Luna's health at risk. How could you be so careless? I only wanted to help Luna, not hurt her. I didn't like that Ava was so strict about Luna's diet. While it's true Luna might have reactions sometimes, I thought gradually giving her nuts could help, Sophia argued. My frustration boiled over when I confronted Ava, saying, Are you crazy? Our daughter is allergic to nuts. She could have died from this reaction. Who gave you the right to decide how to handle her allergies? Look at the mess you've made. I'm Luna's grandma, and I have the right to take care of her. She'll be fine. You're all overreacting. You're just trying to scare me for no reason. I'm sure this is all part of Camilla's plan to make me look bad. But listen, Sophia, if things go my way today, you'll be in big trouble. Right now, all I care about is Luna's health, I said firmly. Just then, the ambulance arrived with paramedics. They took care of Luna and took her to the hospital, with us following closely. The doctors told us Luna would need time to wake up and would have to stay at the hospital for a day or two. We were all overwhelmed with emotion. I broke down in the hospital, finding comfort in William's arms. After calming down, I called Benjamin to let everyone know that Luna was no longer in danger. When I hung up, I turned to William and expressed my anger, saying, I'll never forgive Sophia for what she did today. She could have put our daughter's life at risk. I've been thinking about how serious this is. It's unbelievable. Something I wouldn't have believed if I hadn't seen it myself. My mom has become someone I don't even recognize anymore. She did all of this just to make me look like a bad mom. She acted like she cared about Luna's happiness, but she never thought about how dangerous it was for Luna. Even after everything, she still says I planned it all. Today showed me how far my mom will go to make you look bad. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner and didn't do more to keep her away from us. I need to protect Luna from my mom's bad influence. I failed as a husband and as a father. William was starting to realize how serious the situation was, and Benjamin, who had always been a good grandfather, was clearly affected by Sophia's actions. This time she went too far. Even though she'd gotten away with things before, we weren't going to let her off easy this time. We decided then and there that we couldn't let Sophia keep hurting Luna. Her actions were a threat to Luna's safety, and we couldn't allow her to keep causing trouble in our lives. Sophia was no longer welcome in our family. We were determined to protect Luna and make sure she grew up in a safe and loving environment. It wouldn't be easy, but for Luna's sake, it was a decision we were ready to stand by. Following a heartfelt discussion, my husband and I quickly made a decision while Luna was still in the hospital. It was time to head back home. Benjamin, Sophia, and a few other guests stayed behind, eager for updates on Luna's condition. This gave us the perfect opportunity to address Sophia's actions. When we got home, 4 hours had passed since the incident. In the living room, we found Benjamin scolding Sophia while she seemed indifferent, busy on her phone. The untouched birthday cake sat sadly beside them, a painful reminder of what had happened. Despite my sadness, I held back my emotions. When they noticed us, Benjamin and Sophia hurried over. "I just got an update," I said. "Luna is in good hands and she'll recover soon, although she's still unconscious. The doctors are hopeful. Thank goodness, Luna will be okay. I was so worried, but it looks like everything's fine. It wasn't even a big deal. Luna will be fine, and her nut allergy will go away soon," Sophia declared. In that moment, William unleashed his anger on Sophia, scolding her for everything she had done. Benjamin joined in, expressing his disappointment, and the guests, visibly shocked, stared at Sophia with disapproval. I, too, was filled with rage. "I've had it with you, Sophia," I declared. "We've given you so many chances to change. Even after your actions put my daughter in the hospital, you show no remorse. This is it. You will never be allowed near Luna or our family again. You're banned from this house. You can't tell me where to go. Your son won't cut me off for no reason. I won't let you keep me from my granddaughter just because we don't agree on how to raise her," Sophia shot back. "No, Mom," William replied firmly. "You're not welcome near me or my family ever again. Dad can come here anytime, but not you. He's the only sensible grandparent Luna has. He's done his best to keep Luna safe. But today you put Luna in the hospital and acted like it was the right thing to do. I can't let someone so heartless be around my daughter." Sophia couldn't believe her own son was turning against her. She had always trusted William to support her, not realizing he was being rational, unlike her. Even the guests started criticizing her. Sophia felt trapped, with no one on her side, not even Benjamin. In desperation, she screamed at us, blaming me for setting her up. "This is all your fault, Ava. You turned everyone against me. I'll never forgive you for this. You should be begging for our forgiveness. Your actions have ruined your reputation and kept you from Luna. I'll sue you for grandparents' rights. I'll take you to court, and the judge will let me see Luna. Just wait and see. I don't need anyone to support me." I responded firmly, "You're not going to have much luck getting grandparents' rights from jail. I'm sure the judge would find it pretty funny to have a criminal asking for visitation after putting her own granddaughter in danger." Sophia protested. "What are you talking about, Ava? Why would I go to jail? I didn't do anything wrong." "Didn't do anything?" I shot back. "What you did is a crime, Sophia. You can be arrested for knowingly exposing a child to allergens. It's considered a form of poisoning. Maybe you didn't realize it, but William and I did. We've already called the police on you. And look, here they come now to arrest you." Sophia, in denial, insisted, "No, you're lying. This can't be happening. You can't arrest me for this." Sophia's panicked expression showed her desperation as she begged us to drop the charges. Tears flowed down her face, and she started to panic. Just then, 2 officers came in and told her she was under arrest. She clung to our hands, begging us not to send her to jail. William remained unmoved, telling the cops to take her away, while I gave Sophia a cold look, showing that her deceitful game was over. In a last attempt, she turned to Benjamin for help, begging him to do something. "Benjamin, please. You can't let your wife get arrested like this," she pleaded. But Benjamin stood firm, saying, "When my wife does something truly terrible and shows no remorse, I won't protect her. I've warned you for years to change, and you never listened. Today, you put our granddaughter in danger. I was only trying to protect her, not realizing it would hurt her so badly. Please, Benjamin, I'm your wife. You have to help me, Sophia pleaded desperately. But William stood by his decision, saying firmly, Sophia, I've already cut you out of my life. It's the right thing to do. And I plan to do the same. Tomorrow I'll talk to a divorce lawyer. I want to end this as soon as possible. I won't stay with someone like you. I'll protect my granddaughter and my kids from you. Sophia was shocked and pleaded desperately, No, Benjamin. You can't do this to me. I'm your wife. Ignoring her, Benjamin told the cops to take her away. Sophia continued crying and begging for help, bringing a tumultuous end to an event that had long concluded. A sense of peace washed over me as William, Benjamin, and I went back to the hospital. After the other guests left, clearly upset by Sophia's actions, they promised to tell everyone what she had done. The next day, Luna woke up feeling much better, but she was terrified of Sophia. Luna cried and begged us to keep her away from her grandmother, saying how Sophia had tried to make her eat things she was allergic to. To help Luna deal with her feelings, we got her a therapist. At the same time, William and I started going to therapy together to work on our communication as a family. Having Benjamin's support was really important for all of us. With his help, we started to heal and grow stronger as a family. Sophia's life took a sharp turn for the worse after the incident. Her actions caught up with her, and she faced serious consequences. Once her own family found out what she had done, they scolded her and cut ties with her. Even her friends were disgusted by her behavior and stopped talking to her. With no one to turn to, Sophia found herself in a desperate situation, begging everyone for bail money. But she didn't get any help, and Benjamin filed for divorce the next day. Sophia was served with divorce papers while still in jail. Receiving the divorce papers in her cell sent Sophia into a fit of rage. In the following months, Benjamin was able to get a quick divorce, taking advantage of state laws. With the police report as evidence, our legal case against Sophia moved forward. Despite the expectation for Sophia to cover Luna's medical expenses, her financial struggles resulted in a lengthy prison sentence as the judge ruled against her. Moreover, we obtained restraining orders to ensure she stays away from our family. With confidence that Sophia won't have the chance to approach us again, we remain watchful. But if by some chance she tries to cross the line, she'll encounter the fierce protection of Mama and Papa Bear, who are determined to do whatever it takes to keep Luna safe. Hey, where are you right now? I'm not sure. Don't upset me. There's nothing belonging to us in the house. What's happening? Well, I packed up all my things and left. Okay. I don't get it. Why would you leave? Well, we got divorced, so it's not odd for me to leave, right? Divorced? I'm the one who filed the divorce papers. What? My name is Claire. I'm 35 years old and work in an office. I'm married to Evan, and we've been together for 5 years. Evan used to work at a company, but he quit his job 2 years ago to start his own business. Unfortunately, his business hasn't been doing well, and we've been struggling financially for the past 2 years. Luckily, I have a good income, so we're able to make ends meet. Our relationship as a couple is okay, not great, but not terrible either. However, I have a big problem with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law who live in my husband's family home. Every time I see them, they make fun of how I look and always find something to complain about. It really upsets me and makes me feel stressed out. My in-laws' house is only a 10-minute drive from our apartment, so my husband often wants to visit them. When we first got married, I went along with it to please my husband, but lately I've started to stand up for myself because their behavior has become too much to handle. Even when I try to stand up for myself, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law don't stop. They always find ways to ask me for money. Hey Claire, I need $500 to buy a birthday present for a friend. Can you give it to me? $500? What are you buying? I'm planning to gift a trip, and I'll be going too. No, that sounds odd. It's like I'm footing the bill, and I can't afford to give $500. You're so tight-fisted, Claire. Are you a miser? Even though Evan supports you. Excuse me? I'm the one supporting him. My husband hasn't contributed anything to our living expenses in the past year, and you, sister-in-law, should get a job. It's not okay to be unemployed at your age. Why does my mother-in-law accept my sister-in-law's unemployment? I wanted to say all of this, but my husband interrupted. Hey Claire, I have a friend's birthday coming up. I want to buy a present, so could you give me $500? You really understand, Evan. You're a good son. Then can I also get about $300? I need it for something. I wasn't sure. It's okay, Claire. You should have about $300 in your wallet, right? Come on, give it to her quickly. My husband, maybe out of pride, made me give the money to my sister-in-law without hesitation. And then he started saying confusing things like, "Thanks to me, we can live this luxurious life." I couldn't understand why my husband was acting this way lately. During a car ride home, I confronted him. "Why do you act like this?" "I have my pride as the eldest son," he started saying even more confusing things. This led to a big argument. Once you give them money, they become bossy. What's wrong with making my own mother happy? We can't afford to live that lavishly, you know. Do you get it? You're not contributing anything to our living expenses. So what? We got a big bonus this summer. Don't rely on that. That money is for savings. Since then, my husband and I have been constantly fighting. How can he act so arrogantly when we're struggling financially? Why does he always have to be in a position of power over me? His flaws are becoming more and more apparent. I realized I didn't have to put up with things I didn't like just for him. So when he recently said, "We're going to my mom's," I responded, "You go by yourself." My husband tried to argue, saying, "What do you mean? It's normal for the wife to come too." But when I pointed out, "So you're abnormal because you don't come when we go to my parents' house," he got annoyed and said, "Do whatever you want," then went to his parents' house alone. A weekend without my mother-in-law and sister-in-law was such a relief. It felt so comfortable and nice. With some free time to myself, I focused on working towards my dream. And that dream is to buy my own home. I spent time researching online and ordering brochures. My dreams and aspirations were growing, and just thinking about my new house made me excited. As I looked at different furniture options online, I imagined carefully arranging them in my future home. Lost in these thoughts, time passed quickly, and before I knew it, evening had arrived and my husband was back. "Oh, welcome home." Oh, is he still upset? How childish. He should act more mature as a grown man. I wasn't trying to cater to my husband, so I continued making dinner without speaking to him. Then out of nowhere, my husband spoke up. "You've been quite bold lately, huh? Standing up to me and saying you don't want to see my mother and the others." Defying, we're equals in this relationship. Besides, your mother and the others always criticize me, so I don't want to visit your parents' house anymore. That's what I mean by being bold. Normally, wives are expected to obey their husbands. If you say I can't do that, you're talking about divorce, right? Divorce? Are you surprised that I wouldn't mind being divorced by you? But I'm really upset with you. I've already prepared my part of the paperwork, so it can be submitted anytime. I'll let it go this time, but if you defy me again, it'll be an instant divorce. Think about that. With that, my husband smirked and ordered, "I'm going to take a bath. Hurry up and make dinner." Once I confirmed he was in the bath, I couldn't help but feel relieved. Yes, now I can end things with that man whenever I want. I cooked dinner happily. From then on, I worked hard to save money. I was almost ready to make the down payment. It was difficult to contain my excitement and keep from smiling. But in front of my husband, I acted calm. Finally, I bought a house in my own name. All that's left is to get a divorce after the house is ready and leave the home I share with my husband. I started packing my belongings little by little without my husband noticing and sent them to my parents' house temporarily. I had told my parents everything, and they understood my situation. Finally, the house was finished. When my husband went to his parents' house as usual on the weekend, I moved all my things to my new home. The new house is very comfortable, and both the inside and outside are just as I imagined. As I enjoyed the pleasant scent of a new home all day, my husband called me that night. "Hey, where are you?" "Well, where do you think I am?" "Don't play games with me. There's nothing left in the house." "What's happening?" "Well, I packed up all my stuff and left." "What? I don't understand. Why would you do that?" "Well, since we're divorced now, it's not unusual for me to move out, is it?" "Huh? Divorced? I already filed the divorce papers." "What?" "We're not together anymore. Don't try to fool me. I won't accept that." "But you were the one who said we could get divorced whenever. As a businessman, you should stand by your words. Anyway, this is the end for us." With that, I hung up the phone. Finally, I was free from my husband. That night, I slept peacefully. Living in my new home was so comfortable, and every morning I woke up feeling refreshed. Today, I decided to invite my parents over to my new home for the first time. As I was cooking alone in the kitchen, my parents arrived with a bottle of celebratory sake. They were both surprised and impressed by my new home. And then the three of us raised our glasses for a toast. Even though it was a bit early, we started celebrating. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Huh. Who could it be at this hour? When I checked the intercom, I saw my ex-husband, ex-mother-in-law, and ex-sister-in-law standing there. Why are you here? From now on, my parents and I will be living here. My father is in the hospital right now, but when he's discharged, he'll also be living here. Please leave immediately. No way, that's absurd. Why should I do that? Please leave my property right now. Then my ex-mother-in-law stepped forward. You cheeky girl, listen. What's yours is mine. If you understand, open the door. What are you talking about? I'm single now. Huh? Didn't your son tell you? We've already filed for divorce. We're strangers now. Upon hearing this, my ex-mother-in-law and ex-sister-in-law looked at my ex-husband. He seemed to be explaining something to them, although I couldn't see clearly on the intercom screen. He was probably saying something like, I don't accept this. I told them, anyway, you can't enter this house. Please leave, and hung up the intercom. As my ex-husband continued shouting at the front door, demanding to talk, I was at a loss for what to do to make him leave. Then, to my surprise, a police car pulled up in front of my house, and they took my ex-husband into custody. From inside, I could hear my ex-husband protesting and struggling as the police pinned him to the ground. It hurts. Why is this happening to me? Meanwhile, my ex-mother-in-law and ex-sister-in-law stood there in shock upon learning that their son was divorced. They weren't arrested, but they were escorted away in the police car. After watching my ex-husband and his family being taken away, I returned inside the house, wondering who had called the cops. Then, to my surprise, my father made a peace sign. In situations like this, you call the police immediately. Trust your always calm dad. We continued our party with another round of drinks. As for how my ex-husband found out where I live, it turns out he followed me home from work because he admitted to stalking me. If he shows up again, he'll be arrested on the spot. With his timid personality, it's unlikely that he'll come near this house again. I also obtained a restraining order against his family. After the incident, it seems my ex-husband's business went downhill, and he accrued a lot of debt. With the divorce, the financial support he and his family were relying on from me was cut off. Additionally, with his father in the hospital, they had no source of income, so they had to sell their house. It's a case of reaping what they sowed. On the other hand, I invited my parents to live with me in my new home. They're very happy, calling me incredibly filial, and they're enjoying life in our new home. I want to continue cherishing my parents and live happily as a close-knit family. With his timid personality, it's unlikely that he'll come near this house again. I also obtained a restraining order against his family. After the incident, it seems my ex-husband's business went downhill, and he accrued a lot of debt. With the divorce, the financial support he and his family were relying on from me was cut off. Additionally, with his father in the hospital, they had no source of income, so they had to sell their house. It's a case of reaping what they sowed. On the other hand, I invited my parents to live with me in my new home. They're very happy, calling me incredibly filial, and they're enjoying life in our new home. I want to continue cherishing my parents and live happily as a close-knit family. She said I'm only good enough for dog food, she grumbled. Wow, I never thought I'd feel so embarrassed. Even though we just got married, I've been trying to do things her way. But it seems like it's not enough. Maybe she's from another planet or something. That would explain a lot. I don't understand her language anymore, but I don't really want to talk to her anyway. My name's Allison. I'm 32 and work in an office. I think I got into games because of my older brother who loves them. I've loved games since I was little, especially ones where I pretend to be someone else in a made-up world. I've made a lot of friends online, including my husband Carmen. We both love the same game and have our favorite characters and spells. Whenever a new game comes out, we go buy it together. After hanging out like this for a while, we started to like each other and decided to get married. Carmen's parents are Stanley, who's often away on work trips, and Bianca, who takes care of things at home. Stanley's hardly ever home because of his job. Carmen's grandma, who has Alzheimer's, lives with them too. She's been having a hard time remembering things, especially since Grandpa started traveling. It was a big surprise for everyone. Bianca takes care of Grandma because Carmen used to live alone. So it's just Bianca and Grandma at Carmen's parents' house. I worried about having to take care of someone who wasn't even my parent someday. But Carmen's parents are still healthy, so that day seems far away. I felt pretty relaxed until I got that one phone call. One day, I had some free time, so I finished up my chores and started playing my favorite game. Then, I heard a strange sound in my room. What's that noise? Oh, it's my phone ringing. I don't usually get calls, so I forgot what my ringtone sounded like. When I saw it was Bianca calling, I felt a bit nervous. It was the first time she had ever called me, and I wondered if something was wrong. So I answered quickly, saying, "Hello. You took your time. It's common courtesy for a responsible adult to answer promptly when someone calls." Her sudden sarcasm made me want to hang up, but I stayed on the line. "Sorry, I'll try to be quicker next time. What can I help you with?" As if you have time off on your days off, right? Playing with those silly games? You should be doing your duties as Carmen's wife. After Bianca abruptly hung up, she told me to visit Carmen's parents' house on my next day off. I felt bewildered for a while. Why did I have to deal with sarcasm from a rare phone call? I thought about ignoring it, but she's Carmen's mother, so I figured I should just hear her out. That's how I decided to approach it. Later that night, I told Carmen about the call. "I'm really sorry. It might be a hassle, so you don't have to come with me." It was reassuring to hear him say that, even though it was frustrating. Sometimes I just need a place to unwind after work. "Hello. Oh, Allison, is something on your mind?" Susan from the pottery school greeted me warmly. I went there feeling lighthearted, but now I'm fully engaged in conversation. Susan is around the same age as my grandma, but still vibrant and ready to listen to my problems. She's like a mother figure to everyone. Pottery is fun, but I mostly come here to chat with Susan. "Listen to this, Susan," I began, venting to my friend. I got a rare call from Bianca, and it was just one sarcastic comment after another. "You must have plenty of free time," she said, "or do your duty as a wife." I never expected to hear such outdated remarks. Susan always listens to my complaints without judgment. Just ignore Bianca's nonsense. There are still plenty of old-fashioned people out there. People who talk like that often have double standards. My son's wife deals with the same thing. While I may not have lucked out with Bianca, I'm surrounded by kind people like Susan. It naturally encourages me to keep pushing forward. On my next day off, I followed Bianca's instructions and went over to my in-laws' house. When I parked and approached the door, Bianca was already waiting there. "Oh great," I muttered nervously, trying to keep calm. "Good morning. You're supposed to be here 30 minutes earlier. Don't keep your superiors waiting," she scolded. I had just arrived, and already I wanted to turn around and leave. I can understand being punctual for work, but why should I be scolded for her convenience? Besides, arriving 30 minutes early can be inconvenient for the other person, which I didn't want to do. "Well, it's only 10 minutes early," I tried to explain, but she cut me off. "Don't talk back. Am I running a military camp?" I sighed, feeling defeated. I will never trust this person again, no matter what. And I won't ever agree to take care of her when she's old, even if she offers me a lot of money. No way. "Fine then, you're late for our appointment. Anyway, I'm leaving now," Bianca said, ready to walk away. "But wait," I stopped her. "You call me here without any explanation, and I have no idea what's going on." "Well, I'm going out until tonight, so you'll have to come here on your days off from now on. Do the housework and take care of the person in the back room," Bianca said before driving off. I've never met someone so difficult to communicate with. She seemed nice when I met her with Stanley and Carmen, but that wasn't the case at all. I thought about just going home without doing anything to avoid getting yelled at again. But more than that, I hadn't met my grandmother-in-law yet. Bianca had mentioned her, but since she didn't understand, she decided I didn't need to come to the family wedding. By the way, we only had a simple meal and didn't have a wedding ceremony. Carmen and I were supposed to visit her together later, but our days off never lined up, and embarrassingly, we never made it. As I opened the entrance door, a shocking sight greeted me. It was a mess. It wasn't quite a garbage dump, but it looked like it wouldn't take long to become one. The room was cluttered with stuff, and there was a pile of laundry, clean or dirty, scattered on the floor. The kitchen sink was overflowing with dishes, Dust was gathering in the corners, and it was visibly disgusting. The last time I was here, the place was clean and tidy. What on earth happened? This is awful. As I pondered, I heard noises coming from the back room. Ah, it must be my grandmother-in-law, I thought, deciding to go and greet her. Excuse me. Since the day Bianca called me, I've been going to my in-laws' house as instructed. I've come to realize that Bianca probably spends her days out and only comes home late at night. She doesn't seem to take care of the house or her grandmother-in-law at all. While she bosses me around, telling me to fulfill my wife's duties, it's clear she isn't doing much herself. Maybe she got carried away because I obeyed her commands. She once loudly said, "I'm relieved that Carmen, who always plays with toys, finally brought home a wife. But after all, a wife is just a stranger. I guess you're like a free housekeeper. In this day and age, treating your son's wife like this is completely unacceptable." Of course, I told Carmen everything Bianca did, and he kept apologizing every time he heard about it. "You don't have to go to that house anymore," he would say. He even offered to talk to Bianca himself, but I asked him to hold off because I had a plan. I kept visiting my in-laws' house because I was worried about my grandmother-in-law. When Carmen saw that she and I got along well, he was really pleased. After a few months of those routine visits, while I was cleaning my in-laws' house as usual, Bianca said, "There's a memorial service at the end of this month and people will gather. Just make sure you don't say anything unnecessary, all right?" I smiled and replied, "Of course, Bianca." But it seemed like Bianca wasn't completely satisfied with my response. The memorial service was for Carmen's grandfather on his death anniversary. He had passed away before I married Carmen, but he was known to be a gentle and kind person. He and my grandmother-in-law got along very well and used to travel together. Carmen told me they always held hands when they were out. Grandfather-in-law had died of cancer, and my grandmother-in-law had taken care of him devotedly, with no help from my parents-in-law. It's just unbelievable. There's a lot of preparation to do, so make sure you come early, all right? And I think you know what to do, Bianca added. Bianca said that, and I cheerfully responded, "Yes, I'll act 30 minutes early." But she scolded me, "Your voice is too loud, be quiet." I thought about throwing the TV remote at her but managed to hold back. "You can't talk like that now, but just wait, get ready," she warned. I looked forward to the day of the memorial service, eagerly anticipating it. I was told to come 30 minutes early, but I arrived an hour early. Apparently, that was too much for Bianca, who came out of the entrance angry, saying, "You're too early." There's such a thing as too much. Honestly, when I saw her face, she looked like a monster to me. I quickly cleaned the room and set up the tables. When I heard a cheerful male voice say, "Good morning," as he approached the entrance, I saw the staff from a famous local steakhouse standing there. I had been there once with Carmen, and the meat was tender and delicious. But it's not something I can afford to do often. Ignoring me, Bianca eagerly engaged with the handsome staff, saying, "Good morning. Nice weather today, isn't it?" I could hear someone saying, "Ooh," for the first time, and then I went back to my preparations. "Hey, hurry up and bring in the food that arrived early," I heard Bianca's annoying voice. Resignedly, I headed to the kitchen, thinking yes, yes. But there, I noticed something odd. "How, Bianca, there's one meal missing. Is this a mistake? Should I call?" When I said that, Bianca smirked and said, "It's not a mistake. I never prepared a portion for you." I was shocked. I never expected to be treated this way. Everyone's gathered today, and you, my son's wife, won't even have time to eat. "How rude," she said. It felt like she was praising me, but I felt angry. Even though I didn't argue back, she seemed pleased and said, "You're just like a maid. Come on, say bow." Then she brought out leftover dog food from when they used to have a dog at my in-laws' house. I couldn't help but laugh at her humiliating gesture. I couldn't understand this woman at all. I thought maybe she was from another planet or something. I didn't want to talk to someone I couldn't communicate with, so I pretended to speak an alien language and shouted at her. For a moment, Bianca looked scared by my sudden behavior. "Are you crazy? Are you making fun of me?" she asked. "Yes, maybe I am. I've been putting up with this for a while now. I don't like living with someone as mean as you," I replied. "I don't know what you're upset about, but would you be happy if we got a divorce? No way. I won't allow it. I'd have to hire another maid, and that would be a waste of money." She interrupted, trying to grab me. "Stop it. How embarrassing, I said, turning around to see Carmen and my father-in-law Stanley, along with Stanley's brother and his wife, who had come from far away. Bianca didn't notice them because we were arguing, but it was time for Carmen and the others to arrive. I'm not sure how long they had been watching, but Bianca suddenly became quiet, maybe because Stanley stepped in or because she was shocked. Then the priest came to the house. The memorial service ended simply, and it was time to eat. But my grandmother-in-law stayed in her room, saying she wasn't feeling well. I haven't had steak in a while, but it's really good here, Stanley said as I busied myself bringing drinks and such. Allison, come and eat too. You don't need to do all this, my aunt-in-law said kindly. Thank you, but it looks like there's no steak left for me. I pretended to be sad. When Cindy asked why, I said, I can't really say. Please ask Bianca. Cindy glared at Bianca, who seemed scared by her look, and started saying something strange. Oh, I ordered the wrong number of steaks. I offered my portion to Allison, but she said she didn't want it. I'm so lucky to have such a nice woman in the family. Bianca was sweating a lot, and her eyes were darting around. Cindy looked at me worriedly. Yes, that's right. Behind Cindy, I could see Bianca's face completely at ease. That face was so funny, I struggled not to laugh. Bianca is always so nice. She tells me when I'm not polite. Today, instead of steak, she prepared this for me. I said and brought out the dog food Bianca had given me from the kitchen. Bianca looked scared at my unexpected move. What's happening? What did you do to my wife? Carmen asked, but Bianca stayed silent. Stanley spoke up. Well, you know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? Allison is part of the family now. Stanley started joking, and Carmen looked like he might grab him. Wanting to avoid any trouble, I decided to call my secret weapon Susan. Everyone was surprised by my loud call. Then from the back room, a cheerful voice answered, yes. Out came Susan, the grandmother-in-law. It turns out she's the Susan from pottery school. The day Bianca first invited me over, we were both shocked to see each other, never imagining that Susan would be the grandmother-in-law. We finished the chores at my in-laws' house together, laughing. The in-laws' house is a two-family house, and Susan's part was very neat. It was clear she wasn't sick, but Bianca never suspected. Since Bianca came home late at night, Susan and I went out to eat and for walks. I cherished the time I spent with Susan, which is why I was happy to visit my in-laws' home. Susan had asked me not to tell the family about our relationship. I was upset by Bianca's unfair words, but I knew it wouldn't last forever, so I endured it. Susan chose not to attend the memorial service because she didn't want to see the family's faces. She always prayed for my grandfather-in-law's happiness after his passing. Huh? Mom, don't you have Alzheimer's? Stanley asked, confused. That's just something this woman misunderstood, Bianca said, shrinking away under everyone's glares. What bothered me most was being excluded from the grandchildren's celebrations, Susan said, smiling at me. Bianca, not finding this funny, suddenly apologized. I'm sorry, Allison. You've always been distant to me. I was frustrated, and that's why I played that prank today. I truly regret it, but if you had been kinder from the start, maybe I wouldn't have. I never wanted to go along with this act. Bianca, all the kind words you've said to me before, I thought they meant something. That's why I recorded them, I said, pulling out a hidden voice recorder. As we played it back, Bianca's face turned pale, and the others grew serious. Susan and I had planned to reveal everything on this day, regardless of the steak incident. After listening, Cindy started laughing. You talk about social manners, but you've never worked a day in your life. It seemed Bianca had never worked and had lived a life of leisure after the children grew up. Bianca started going out more, leading to constant arguments with Stanley. Stanley himself was apparently a habitual cheater who came home late every night. He would show up at school events for appearances, but otherwise had a fake relationship, according to what Carmen had told me. Carmen couldn't stand it either and left home as soon as he finished high school. That's why pack your bags and leave right now. This is the home my late husband and I cherished. I'll never let you come back. And you too, Stanley, Susan said, glaring at him. You've got another woman out there, don't you? Do whatever you want, worthless son. I'm cutting ties with you. Stanley left hastily, maybe feeling too exposed. And Carmen, I know you're busy with work, but visit once in a while. I understand if you don't want to, with such foolish parents, Susan told Carmen. looking a little sad. Then we left the house. As Carmen and I walked away, Bianca, looking furious, chased after me. Wait, clear up this misunderstanding. If I get kicked out, I'll be in trouble. I thought if that were the case, she shouldn't have mistreated me in the first place, but her words came too late. I don't get it. Why don't you work? You seem to know how to be a decent member of society, I said sarcastically as I got into the car. She was yelling something outside, but I ignored her. Let her regret her choices however she likes. After getting kicked out of my in-laws' house, Bianca showed up at Stanley's place where he was working alone. But as Susan predicted, Stanley was already living with his mistress, and Bianca was quickly left out. It turned out Bianca had been cheating too, with a married man. She got sued by his wife for damages. Since both our former in-laws had cheated, the damages kind of balanced out, but Bianca still had to pay. Stanley might have to pay less if his mistress's wife also sues him, but they're strangers to me now, and I don't care. They were a match in a weird way, despite their fake relationship. Carmen has no attachment to them and never wants to see them again. I feel the same. We decided to live in the in-laws' house with Susan. We got rid of all the furniture Bianca had picked out and changed the inside a lot, so it feels like a new home. Susan is surprisingly lively for her age, but I'm happy to take care of her if she needs it. Plus, next year, our family will be growing. I'm excited to have a happy life with my loved ones from now on.